Welcome to Lost Girl Therapy. Ignore this hair, it's working on sorting itself out. But let's talk about all of the things that I need to do to prepare for a wedding as somebody who has POTS. So I have been getting ready for this wedding since 11:30. It's now 3 o'clock. And you might be wondering why it takes me so long. And it's mainly because I have to give myself breaks in between all of the activities that I do. So that way my body and my nervous system does not get overstimulated, and then I have a lot of problems later on. I already started the day without all of my energy, and that's mainly because yesterday was just a very long day. I did a lot of back-to-backs, and I typically do not do that, mainly because I need to give myself breaks in between so that way I don't overexert. And you might be like, well, how do you overexert if you are a therapist and you sit in a chair? Well, funny you should ask. One of the things that happens is I have to eat every 2 hours. So if I miss my window for eating, or if I have pushed it too far, or I have not hydrated adequately enough, that's overexertion for me. My body will not respond well to that. So yesterday was a day where I was cutting it way too freaking close. I was able to push the windows instead of every 2 hours, I was eating every 3 hours, but I was basically coming up to the verge of you're definitely not going to feel well, and then lowering that response. So when I woke up this morning, I already was just we're not thriving. And what made it worse this morning was that I opened a package that had a dress in it. The dress was wrapped in plastic. I ripped the bag open, and this dress is smothered in fragrance. Now, I am definitely allergic to fragrance. That's dramatic. I'm not definitely allergic. I have just a very high intolerance for fragrance. And I opened it and I automatically was like, this is not gonna be good. And then within 10 minutes, I had to take a Benadryl because my breathing started getting labored, my throat started to just do what it does. And I pretty much was like, cool, you're having an allergic reaction and you didn't plan on that. And so thank God I had Benadryl, but one of the things with POTS is that when you take Benadryl, yes, a antihistamine can be helpful because it can help lower your nervous system response, but it can also make you very sluggish, very tired. And when you have POTS, sometimes slowing everything down, slowing down my heart rate or slowing down my nervous system, especially that quickly, does not always have the best result. So yes, it works for the allergy perspective, but I don't want my heart rate to go too low. I don't want to slow my body down too much because when I'm standing or when I'm walking, it will exacerbate the fainting symptoms for me. So I took the Benadryl, I chilled out, I then went to return something, and I noticed that when I was returning something, I was like, oh, okay, you're feeling everything. And it's mainly that sense of tightness behind the eyes, kind of finding it difficult to catch your breath. Your heart starts doing weird things. My neck started hurting, and I was like, okay, so it's time to sit down and basically just recover. Now, the other part to this is that I had breakfast at 8 a.m. By the time I got back from running this errand, it was 11:30. So I was well outside of the window of when it was an appropriate time for me to eat. And the reason I have to eat every 2 to 3 hours is because if my blood sugar drops, I have an episode. Now, this is different for everybody, but in my case, when my blood sugar drops, my body does not have a chill reaction. It doesn't go, oh, you're hungry, you could eat something. It goes, you're going to pass out and you have about 5 minutes to get something into your system. So by the time that I got home, I had already pushed this window far beyond the limits. After eating, what I did notice is that I was exhausted. Now, half of that is because of the Benadryl. The other half of it is that my body just ran a marathon and wasn't planning on doing it. So I took a 45-minute nap. Like I said, I've been getting ready since 11:30. I'm now in hour 4. So at 11:30 I ate, at 12 o'clock I took a nap, at 12:45 I woke up and did my hair, and then at 1:30 I meditated, and I had done a clearing before I took a nap. And I do that, you'll see it in another one of my videos. I do a clearing and I do a full meditation before I go anywhere because it's a twofold thing. One, when you're psychic going into a larger setting, you do not want to be psychically open. But two, when you have POTS and your nervous system is overactive, and I happen to have ADHD on top of it, which means my nervous system is just wildly attuned to stimulus. When that happens, meditation can be a good thing that kind of drops me back into my body and kind of gives my nervous system a break in a really calm way. The nap does that, but it doesn't really achieve the same effect as actually meditating. It is something that I do daily, but on days when I have bigger things, meditating before I go and do something can mean the difference between me having an episode and me not having an episode, mainly because my body is in a state of calmer than heightened. So after I meditated, I ate again, and then I just did my makeup. I have done all of this sitting down. So I did my hair sitting down, I did my makeup sitting down. I have not been walking around. I've deliberately been seated for the majority of today because I basically ruined it this morning. And I think that's just one of those things where, like, there's so many things that you have to keep track of when you have something like POTS, because you are constantly in a state of needing to think 17 steps ahead. And on the times when you don't think that far ahead, you can end up in situations that really just exacerbate your symptoms. So I always have an eye on the clock. Like, there's a clock right behind this phone. It's 3 o'clock. I know that I need to eat in a half hour again. It doesn't matter if I'm not hungry. What matters is that I have to keep my blood sugar up. It also matters that I am hydrated. So it doesn't matter if I don't feel thirsty. I've already done my at-home LMNT, and today I did a regular LMNT because I needed double the boost of the hydration, because I know that me going out to an event for an extended period of time is really going to test things. Then there's the second half of the equation, which is, what do you do the moment that you leave your house and all of those hours that you're out in the world? How do you handle that? So if you want to see how I handle that, come back for part 2.